Hey everybody, how's it going? So we got channel members. I appreciate all of you. I really do. Channel members Ted and Ed. Yeah, hold on one second. Trying to make sure I'm on the right screen before I share it. And there we go. There we go. Hey, Ted and Ed, Jerry, Don, Rex, Dan, Joy, Craig, Lieutenant Colonel Goose, Donald, Rob, Diane, Skaggs, good to see you. Will, Scott, General Rush, good to see you. Captain Sledge, good to see you. I don't know your rank, Skaggs. Even if you told me, I probably don't know. Don't remember. Anyway, Sergio, Darren, Svenborn, Frank, Jason, Digger. Can't remember yours either. Actually, you told me, but I don't know the Navy ranks by abbreviation. Ted, Gary, Andrew, Cliff, Wrongemer. Wrongemer's back. Back to work. Back. Anyway, glad to have everybody here. So, I know y'all like some life story. This guy right here, my digital crack device. Anybody want to guess, how old this thing is? Anybody want to guess how old this baby is right here? A lot of people think I keep up with the latest greatest, but it's pre-COVID. It's pre-COVID. Had the same phone all the way through COVID, and it's actually it's an S20. It's a Samsung S20. I've had it, 5 years ish. So like the screen protector on it is kind of I guess the case is cracked and it's pushing the screen protector off of the screen. So I took it out of the case this weekend, and cool. It's not the Bluetooth in it's starting to fail. All sorts of problems. Like it won't unlock my truck half the time. Pain in the butt. Anyway, so I took it out of the case, and these phones are like glued together. Well, guess what? The glue, I guess, turned to goo, and the back just falls off of the phone. I was like, oh, you can see inside all the battery and stuff. I was like, and Kimberly was like, I don't think that's supposed to happen. So I've been looking at phones the last couple of days, and I was like, S25, those are freaking expensive. You pay like out the wazoo. And I found a phone called a Red Magic. That thing, Red Magic 10 Pro. I was like, that looks pretty nice. And then yesterday I came across something called it's the brand is 8849, and it's called a Tank 3 Pro. I was looking at that. I almost pulled the trigger on that one last night because it was on a Amazon Lightning deal for $500. The battery in it, if you just turned on the phone and set it down and didn't mess with it, which impossible, but it would last 75 days. I was like, holy fudge muffins. The thing is like an inch and a half thick or something like that, inch and a quarter thick, and it weighs over a pound. It's got that much battery in it. It's got a spotlight built into it. It's got a projector built into it, and it's this thing. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I gotta pull this thing out. Let me see if I can pop it up. Let's see. Yeah, 8849 Tank 3 Pro. Let's see. Let's just look at it on Amazon. Yeah, check this thing out. It's up to $600 a day off of the special. But look at this baby. I mean, it literally has a projector built into the thing. It has night vision, like a night vision camera. I mean, I was like, and the biggest thing to me, you can still put an SD card in it. like all these, like the biggest drawback to me was like you can't put an SD card in any of the modern phones. I was like, that's bullshit. Bullshit. That's the thing that's kept this one going is I keep getting a bigger SD card and putting it in there. And anyway, it charges in like an hour. It has like the high speed whatever built into it. It's not like this thing is absolute crazy. Like, I mean, it's got this 1200 lumen camping light is what they call it. It's like a spotlight. It's got, I mean, it's got all this crazy stuff in here. Yeah, it's built-in cooling fan. It's got a manual focus for the projector. It's, it's the biggest screen as just about anything else. Yeah, 2300. Like, I don't even know if you could take it on an airplane because it's over 20,000 milliamp hours of battery. Will I even let you take that on a plane? I don't know. It's 8849 is who makes it. 8849. That's the 8849. That's the brand right there. Tank 3 Pro. I mean, yeah, 6.8 inch screen, 23 like 5G, 32 gigs of RAM, 512 megs of storage. For that price, I mean that's way cheaper than the flagship things, I tell you. And it has an SD card slot. That was the big thing to me. I have 24,000 pictures on my phone. Most of it's on that SD card. It's got like a 200 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel front camera, 64 megapixel night vision camera. And it has a telephoto camera that they didn't, 50 megapixel wide angle and I think it's an 8 megapixel telephoto. The downside, the thing weighs like a pound, 700 grams. That's it's like a pound and a half. Anyway, there you go. I need something reasonably like the RAM. I use a lot of apps that require some juice. Like starting to push the limit of this one. It gets really hot sometimes, but I need some current functionality. Gosh darn it! I thought I muted this freaking thing. What did you do? There we go. Put it over there now. All right. So anyway, I can't pull myself to even buy that. The one I got still works. If I guess the water resistanceness of it is not going to be water resistant if I get it wet. So got to be careful. Anyway, Google reporting earnings today, and they make the Android operating system, which all those phones run on. There we go. That was my, like, when I pulled it up, I was like, oh yeah, I should talk about the phone because Android. So we're sitting right here trying to break out. If we can push it through, we've got resistance right there. If Google reports what the market perceives as good numbers. Now this is a setup for doing that. Check it out. I don't know what's going to happen today exactly, but of course, that is a reversal setup. More than likely to go higher. This is the reason that I was willing to sell puts down here at 140 and then 133. I have puts sold. I will be buying shares if we end up down here tomorrow at the close. If we pop through, just get the money. Get the money, honey. And update on the K info. Check it out. I closed a winning trade. That is no longer, if we look at the last year, profitable. Look at the last 3 months, the last 1 month. We have a profitable trade in here. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. I sold puts on Delta Airlines. on Monday and closed them out yesterday. Can't click on it. That's cool. Of course, I'm not logged in or anything, so there you go. One trade down. Only like a lot more to go to the goal. A lot more to go. So if you want to follow along with the challenge, throw that link in the chat again. I post updates to channel members. I give all the trades to Termire Trading Lab members. And there you go. There you go. Cool. All right, moving on. What's happening today? What's going on? We've got the Google earnings. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. That means no matter what you trade, there's a risk of losing your money. All right, don't use money you can't afford to lose if you don't have high confidence in what you're doing. And even then, you may lose your money even if you're doing something with high confidence. You could always get black swans and crazy crap in the market. Be careful, you may lose money. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. That means I predict stuff. I try to make trades, and sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I end up in the toilet. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. Hopefully you're entertained. Not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument at all. No stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't trade them. You might lose money. If you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. And make sure this is somebody you trust if you're going to do this. All right. Like, talk to them, feel them out. If they're just full of bull crap telling you how much money they're going to make you, really, they just want to take your money, take some of that, and make it into their money. So be careful. Be careful out there. Economic calendar is pretty benign this week. Got pretty much nothing on this last week in April. Pretty much nothing. Had a little spiciness hitting the market with the unemployment and the durable goods and stuff. Durable good orders came in 9.2. I mean, that actually, we're actually seeing some demand in U.S. produced goods. The problem is we don't produce much goods here. Not really when you look at the broad. I was looking at I don't even know, a post on whatever social media it was. The guy was like, this just got real for me. He was trying to order a CNC milled piece of aluminum that he was using. He was experimenting with a new type of repelling device instead of using a figure eight or, it looked like a series of boomerangs stacked together, and he needed it with certain radiuses and stuff so it doesn't, burn the rope. And China, they were quoting him like $300 to produce him 5 of these. But with the tariffs, it was like $700 in tariffs. So it was like $1,000 to get 5 of these. He was like, a couple weeks ago I could get 5 of these, no problem, $300. He's like, this just got real for me, like up the cost like 3 times. And the local, like everybody quoting him in the United States to produce the same part, $1,500 for 5. $1,500. So even with the tariffs, he could get it cheaper than hiring a local shop. I was just like, that's telling of the. And somebody's like, even at $1,000, you're just one broken tool away from losing money producing those parts for you. To me, that's just telling on the state of manufacturing in the United States compared to China. But, I mean, it is what it is. Right here, got the consumer sentiment stuff tomorrow by the University of Michigan. I don't see that as a big market mover, but we did see inflation. When this came out a couple weeks ago, it did make it was a catalyst to move the market. It was a shocking number, but now the last couple weeks have been more benign. So, previously we saw a 6.7 read on it. This is not in line with the government's numbers. Zero Hedge calls this the Democrat number. So they're expecting super high inflation. Whereas the reality of CPI and PCE are down here somewhere, it seems like. So we'll see how this all plays out, I guess, in the coming weeks. Are we actually going to spike inflation, or are we going to keep dropping? I don't know. Interesting report out of the port of California. That's the LA port. It's the busiest port in the United States. The incoming ships has dropped off dramatically in the last 2 weeks, mostly from China. The loads, this was the shocking thing to me. Loads is your trucks hauling stuff out of the port. Truck traffic has dropped 700,000 loads. 700,000 loads down. I was like, how do you even get 700,000 loads out of the port? So, I don't know. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So, all right. Well, that's what we got. Google, open it up right there. Look for that to bust through. And yes, still have the potential to bust out. We came up right to, look at this, yesterday, right to the limit and retraced. Look at the smaller time frames. I mean, that was a pretty violent retrace, but looks kind of like that might be the end of it right there. Didn't dip down here. Now this could be some sort of a, was that the B, or is this like, I don't know what, or is this the rest of the A? I don't know. Then this is the B, and then we get a C. I don't know. Maybe this is the A wave, and it just took forever for the wave 4. We get a B wave retrace. This is key to what might happen today. So we've got to watch this level right here, 54.45, which is the highs right back here. Watch that level. If we turn down from there, probably coming back down here at the minimum. So watch for that upside resistance. Watch for this downside number right here, 53.60 on ES. If we break below that, we're probably coming down to these kind of numbers, 52.50, possibly 52.90, right there. So that's kind of the roadmap of the day. That's what I'd be expecting. Now, if we get above this, we've still got that significant resistance right up here to contend with. If we get up there, that 5600 to 5800 area starts kicking in. Look at the actual cash index. Kind of the same thing cooking here. We did that 618 retrace. This might be looking for a 618 retrace also. So watch out for that move, that move, that move right there. Hold and go higher. That's what I'm looking for right now. On the indexes. So S5TW, just check back in over here, see what we got. Look at this baby. All the way up here yesterday. Almost made it out of the top. So when we get out the top, watch out right there. That's a warning sign. S5FI came back out of the dip, but we're just hanging with my homies at the bottom. Bigger picture, you know, this is fast, short time frame, medium time frame, weeks to months, probably going to be heading higher. And then longer time frame, months to years, probably setting up for some sort of reversal, but that doesn't mean we don't go lower before we can go higher. Looking at NQ, which is NASDAQ, we look at how that, I tell you what, look at that. We held below that downtrend highs. Stuff is not magic. I mean, trend lines are the weakest form of technical analysis. So this right here, we really, you know, if we're going to go higher, we need to be sticking to a breakout here. If we get back down in here today, probably going back down on NASDAQ. It's a big tell right there. So today, kind of a pivotal. And if it just sits here, it'll be indecision. It won't tell us anything. So if we just stay right in this vicinity, don't really go anywhere, it doesn't tell us jack squat. We need to be getting up out of here, confirming we're going out. Or if we break down and get something down in here, it's cautionary that we might go back to the bottom where we were a couple Mondays ago. Russell, certainly not being clear. That's working on a 3. Kind of looks like it's working on a 3-wavy move off the low here. So that could take us up in here before we have a major reaction. Watch out. That would be right around 2047. Although, you know, this is just muddy gobbledygook right there. Really tough to pick that one on the daily chart there. Oil keeps chopping around. News came out late yesterday, I think it was, that OPEC was going to allow everybody just to flow whatever oil they wanted, or something like some craziness like that. I don't think that's the truth, but you know, pushed prices back down, and we're just chopping. If we break down below this uptrend of low kind of situation, we may push it back down to 50. Otherwise, we're held in with this resistance box that we've had on the chart for, you know, that's where we bottom out back here. Back in 23. Like, why are we having trouble right there? It's because that was the low from 23. We poked below it. Now we're having trouble getting above it. The longer we hang out here, the more likely it is we take a trip down to 50. Gold getting a little retrace. I would be careful. Very, very, very careful. I expected a retrace, but I don't expect continuation. 5 up. Probably going to get 3 down. Like this is probably the first move right here. First move up. This will probably be a 3-wave retrace. 1, 2. Probably get a move down in here. Hold a higher low. Everybody think it's all clear. Then we'll probably shoot up here. And then we'll probably go down bigger. That's probably what we're going to do. Probably what we're going to do. Something like that. And then we'll get a continuation lower to match this right here. Off of that right there. And it may only take us down to this level. Of course, that could just be a 1, 2, and we get a 3 that's on down here. If not, on down here. Around 2,800. Be careful on gold. That's the Anybody beating the drum, just get long, just get long. Be freaking careful right now. This is very treacherous, dangerous, danger, danger, danger. Bitcoin might be working on that. Like maybe we didn't get up as high as I was hoping and we just stall out right here and retrace. So let's clear some stuff off the charts and kind of look at where we're at. See what we got cooking here. This is definitely a break through the downtrend of highs. Do still expect us to go back test it, but right here, here's the problem. At 618 zone, we're right into it. So this may retrace back down if we hold the roadmap line. Could project this back up there. 15 and 19, that's still the resistance. Now just look at the futures chart because it's certified price. There is no real certified price when you look at Bitcoin. All exchanges kind of work differently. So that's, yeah, we're right into the 618 zone. That's the long and the short of it for Bitcoin right there. Ethereum, Ether trying to work on coming off the bottom, but like be careful on this one. If we turn down, break down below those lows, probably going down to a new low below this low from back here in June of 22. Below that low. That's rough. NKD stalling out a little bit. I really want to see this pop on up. This is my proxy for global liquidity. Right here, one of the bigger markets out there. I want to see that pop on up in and above that resistance. Like it's been a major resistance. Like we tried to break out here, failed hard, came up again, failed hard, lower low, right there, earlier this month. Now we're working on coming back up. Probably do a retrace before we can pop out if we're going to do it. This can still fail here. This could just be a retrace and then we fail down and cause more pain in the US markets and globally. So this is an important kind of chart right now. Really is. We're not even up to the resistance zone yet. So if we pop up in here and turn down, that's what we got to watch for on NKD. Dollar, that hit the 618 retrace of this whole big move from this low in December of 2020 to this high in September of 22. We did a 618 retrace. Now, the crazy thing, if we hold this pattern, we now have the setup to potentially go all the way up here. Everybody's talking about the destruction of the dollar. I mean, dollar's just hanging out at 100. Come on. The dollar is not finito or anything like that. As Trump was saying during his press conference yesterday evening, oh, weak dollar makes all those other countries money, more powerful here in the U.S., so it's a great place to come vacation. So it's an interesting that line of thought was parroted a lot back here when we had a weak dollar. That kind of everybody comes to the United States to vacation because your dollar, your money goes further when you put it in dollars. Like that was the thought process back here. Then the dollar got strong relative to other currencies, and it got expensive to come to the United States. Now, came off the highs, but we're certainly not back down in the 80s and 70s. Could come down here, but it also could do that right there. Tesla. Salah still below the downtrend that we've had cooking the last couple of days. It's, earnings had no reaction hardly at all. So can we push it out? Are we going to reject and push down to the bottom of the box? I don't know. We'll see which way it goes. Google, this looks like we're going higher. Now, it could just surprise me and reject and, crush my hopes and dreams and put me shares, and I got to work my way back out of it. But it looks like we're going to go on up and test bigger upside. All right, I go pull everything moving $2 or more up in the pre-market, put it on the gainers list, put everything moving $2 or more down in the pre-market, and put it on the decliners list. And today we had like 19 setups. So feedback has been pretty positive on the setups. So let's just kind of check some of these out, see what we got cooking, and then we'll get into other things if we have time and my bladder can hold on to it. So let's see what we got here. AER, 70% negative profit factor. If you've not seen this before, the orange line is my roadmap line. All right, roadmap line, ROADMAP, roadmap. And I have my Apollo algorithm is written to look for bounces off of that line and look for the extension trade right here. That's what you see, these entries and exits. How do you get that? You don't. Like, I don't sell access to this at all. This is my proprietary code. I don't share it with anybody. I share trade alerts off of it, but I don't share it. Now, I've created a similar set of code in Python, and I run it in Discord every night. I search through like almost 4,000 of the most liquid tickers, in the stock market, and I hunt for daily setups. Now, when I produce the market roadmap list for the week, I'm only looking at the top like 300 or 400 stocks with options. So those stocks will almost always have options, but these right here don't necessarily even have options. Some of them can be really nice potential opportunities. This one, negative profit factor, but the statistical population here is below 30. So we lean back on the historical numbers for the whole population, and that's 1.28. Here's the profit factor across 57,000 trades. So it might work out. All right, on average, 75% of the time, we're going to go up to the 1.1448, which is 90% of the way to the 1272. A lot of details here in how this works. That's the target. This is the conservative target. The software algorithm goes for that conservative target. It takes this conservative entry and goes for this conservative target. AGQ. Spicy. Look at that. This one, be very, very careful here. That one's dangerous. Leverage. This is ultra silver. Ultra means leverage. Right there. And notice it didn't kick off the algorithm inside TradingView here. It didn't actually identify this as a potential entry. That close did trigger my Python script. 50 is the target. BA, kicking it off. There you go. I know lots of you really, really like this stock. That pop up here yesterday triggered the entry. Today is where you buy shares. And the target is going to be 192.09. Or if you pull it up here, potentially 198. What do we expect after that? A retrace. Right back down where we are. So watch out for that. And watch out for that. Short-term opportunity. Although, you know, look at the numbers here. 45 trades. This one has statistical significance here. 71% of the time, we're profitable. But when it loses, it eats up all the money. 442. That means for every dollar you lose, you make 44 cents back. I don't know about you, that's a losing proposition. So I would be very careful on Boeing. Everybody understand? Everybody get the risks here. So you can see that entry and that. Like that one epically dropped right there. The last one that fired off right there stopped out right there. So is this flawless? No, it loses, 30% of the time. Really, on average, it's 25. So this one's actually underperforming. When you look at the 57,000 trades in the back in the historical test I built, this underperforms at 71 and then really underperforms at 44 cent, basically losing when the average is 1.28 right there. BBIO. I've been more focused on trying to help everybody understand the pattern I'm looking for. That was kind of we sent out a survey and there was a kind of a complaint about people didn't understand the price patterns. So I'm trying to help everybody kind of understand that better. So here's the high, here's the low right there. Here, that was barely the close above. And we're looking for that upside right up in there, 41. Now we look at this, maybe like, oh, smoking hot, 100% win rates, but only on 3 trades. So since it's under the statistical population, you have to lean back on 75% of the time. And the profit factor is not infinity. It's 1.28. All right. And draw my 8 funky. So there you go. CIB. I've been trying to train an AI that can tell me if this setup looks like, if it looks good, is that more likely to go higher? This looks like a classic setup right here. But so far the AI hasn't been able to tell me, like so far it's just a coin flip, like whether the chart looks good or the chart looks bad. This chart looks good with this big uptrend. And there's the target at 46. But the numbers down here don't really support that being an awesome trade. So be careful. That one stopped out recently, but reset up. And probably picked up that high and that low, that close, 206 target on that one. That's a reasonable one right there. Higher than average win rates with a statistical population and a lighter than average profit factor. Right there is the target. Not a big, huge upside, but pretty reliable ticker. Fairly reliable. I usually like them. The things I like the most are when you have a statistical population, check. You have a win rate that's like above 80. 80 plus. That's like check plus plus. And then you have a profit factor that's over 2. That's like check plus plus plus. So we need over 30 trades. That's got to be 30 plus. That's first thing. Next thing, 80, over 80. And then you got a profit factor over 2. Those are the ones I really like. That's the ones I usually try to put on the list when I'm just putting like one bonus trade on here. GE here, you can see caution if we turn down there. But this, like, this meets that criteria right there. Look, 53, 83, 2.59. So there's caution that we might turn down, but this is one that I might go put in my K-Info trade. You know, the account that I'm doing this with right here, I might go put it in this account, like with just a couple shares, like one share probably, since that's such a big number. Going from 196 up to 222, I think about 25 bucks on a share. Yeah, this crazy numbers. And look, worked out right there. Pop goes the weasel. So GTX. Here's the high, here's the low. 1087. Be careful. This is under 10 bucks. So this is a cautionary 4 trades. 75%, that's in line. This. So there's the entry, there's the target. May or may not work. 1087. I would skip that one because it's got not a lot going for it. That one, I can tell you the algorithm picked that up right there, that high, that low, that entry, 24 target. The algorithm on here did not pick it up due to some other filtering criteria. HSBC, here's the high, here's the low. Historic win rate, a little bit light. I mean, the historical number of trades, a little bit light for a statistical population. That's showing, even when we get 7 more trades, this is probably going to be below the average. Be careful. And this is probably going to be below, unless we really get some winners. As this gets close to the statistical population, these numbers are indicating that this might underperform and have bigger outsized losses. Be careful. ING. Here's the high, here's the low. Not all tickers are created equal. Just put it that way. 28, that's really close to a statistical population. Again, underperforming. Even with 2 more trades, that's not going to push that up to 75% win rate. And it's not going to push this up above 2. So this is probably dangerous for your money. Would you trade the downside? I wouldn't. It's just as likely to win as it is to lose. But, you know, be careful. 21 target. If anybody's finding this helpful and beneficial, me to talk through the statistics and the reasoning and everything, let me know in the chat. If you're just completely lost, let me know that in the chat. I'll try to make the explanation different. Like I can explain it a whole bunch of different ways. How is total trades calculated? This thing back tests all the way back. That's the handy dandy advantage of TradingView and having this coded up into an automated strategy. So this does a lot of the math for me. All right. Before I became a guru, I was a chief. I was the cat. So I was the chief automated trading strategist for another guru, and I helped develop algorithms and backtest them. For automated trading. So I know a little. I know a little bit about doing this for a few years. I don't trust algorithms to trade for me, so be careful. I've not found, like, there's just certain conditions that I haven't figured out how to account for. This 11, not a statistical population. This right here, yeah, I took part of being an engineer, you have to take engineering statistics classes. So that's where some of this stuff comes from on statistics. I found that most statistics are full of crap. The real kicker to me, you come in, there's books published on statistics, right? They talk about, there's people with PhDs, the guy comes in, he's like, all right, I know the book that we had you buy has all these published tables. I want you to just ignore all those tables, and you're going to use, go print out this PDF. I'm going to link. I'll send you an email. Only use these statistic tables when you do all your homework. I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me that you think your numbers are better than the ones in the book, and it turns out that every statistician thinks they know the beautiful, secret magic to predicting whatever and blah blah blah. I mean, it's the most full of crap. It's like when they say, statistics never lie, but liars use statistics. That's very obvious if you take a few statistics classes. So, I just try to stick to the main. I don't try to make up, standard deviations and probabilities and all that junk. I just go with the normal averages and stuff like that. So I don't try to read into it and do models and junk. So, yeah. So be careful here. Could win. I don't know. It's a nice setup, though. I really like the setup here. Really nice. Like I said, I'm trying to train an AI that can look at these charts and tell me if the way the price action is coming into it gives us a better odds of working out or a worse odd, like if this is more likely to fail. So working on that in the background. If I develop this AI, it will go into Apollo, it will go into Triple Threat, it will go into Echo Trades, it will go into the daily setup. It's going to go integrated into everything. So it's a very important piece of code. And for those of you that are nerding out, nerdy type people, I'm looking at fast Fourier transform layers in AI, which is kind of I read a research paper a couple weeks ago about it. A new layer type that can recognize patterns in time series data, which this is time series data, better than normal, like better than LSTMs and things like that. Long short-term memory, better than tokenization, which is what LLMs use, large language models. I took graduate classes in AI, so it was a few years ago. But everything's like the funny thing to me, nothing's really changed that much in AI since I took graduate classes 20 something years ago. Not that much has really changed. What really changed was the speed of the processors. So, and now they're able to combine all these different techniques to create new little techniques. Tokenization is new, but it's not really new. It was just a different concept on what they kind of already had. There's all these like little tweaks. Now, fast Fourier, using different equations in the layers is, that's always been a thing, but the computers haven't been able to handle it. So that's why all of a sudden it's starting to work. All of a sudden the computers got fast enough. As we keep getting them faster, things will keep getting better. So that one, it would have gone off that high. It would have been the trigger, so the target is 24.17. I probably wouldn't get involved in that one. SAP, that's the wrong SAP. Still the wrong SAP. Here's the high, here's the low. There's the 618, 302. That's it's an underperformer. SCI. I have no idea what. I'm gonna have to look at the chart that one pulled up. Must be a difference in broker data. There's no splits. So let's see. Check that one out. What did it do? What did it do? Oh, a couple of other. There. Yeah, that's a whole different. That's a different. That's got to be a different ticker. Let's see. Yeah, I pulled up the India chart. There we go. There we go. Target 86. Yeah, that's the target. Look at this. Look at this one. Ooh, baby. Check, check, check. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. Never even heard of this company, but I like it. TBPH. Biotech caution. Picked up that right there. There's the entry, 10.50, below $10. Biotech, caution, caution. No, low number of trades, so be careful. TSBK. Yeah, picked up that little thing, 31. Be careful on that one. I don't like that one. UNM. Here's the high, here's the low, there's the triggers. 86.75 is the target, 35. This one's better than average right here. Look, 35, check. Not over 80, but it is higher than the average, check. And not over 2, but it is higher than the average. This one more than likely to get that continuation. And Unum is not really one of those companies that I've heard of, even though it's been around a long time. All right. UVSP. Yeah, it's going to be another marginal setup right there. Go for 30 on the upside. And just kind of choppy. All right. Yeah. I like having a longer list of potential entries there. Let's see. Let's spot check through some of the. Let's go through Apple. Be careful. Got earnings next week. Let's turn this thing off. Apple, Amazon. Careful. Microsoft. Earnings next week. Amazon, earnings next week. This is downtrend. Meta, earnings next week. Be careful. That was the lowest low, and this is a lower high. This can easily go further down before we find a bottom. Microsoft has a higher low. Potential to break out with Google if Google reports good numbers tonight. It's pushing. If this closes up here, like, it's highly likely we pop up in here after earnings. Then NVIDIA, the last of the Mag 7, potential bounce, but this one, be very careful. We haven't hit the ideal downside yet. That's your Mag 7s. Now, get above that. Look, we're in the zone to get back above that 618 and set up the upside right there, 1200. Beautiful. TXN coming back up. Still got a lot to go to get into that resistance up there. PI. Hey, you want to play another fun game before we wrap up with the 100 people still left on the chat? What state? Okay, 50 states. Every state, which state in the United States has the highest average personal bank account balance? Yeah, Watson was one of the first public AIs. The AIs have been around. So my professor 20 years ago had been a AI researcher at Intel since the 70s. Building AI models for Intel since the 70s. So you can say Watson was the first AI, but then, that's not necessarily true. Yeah, so not Texas. What state out of all the 50 states? It's not one that you would think of. I'll put it that way. I'll put it, not one that you would think of. What state out of the 50 states, the average bank account balance has, is the biggest? And most people think, where a lot of people retire, a lot of people, a lot of rich people live. It's surprising to me. I love all the guesses and nobody's right so far. After 50 guesses, we should hit. DC's not a state. Not Alaska. Not South Dakota. Not Nebraska. It's not Alaska. This SJ got it. Hawaii. Hawaii. And Hawaii is the number one by far. One that's easier. Which state has the lowest? My dad got this one, like first guess. Which state has the lowest account balance? Yep, Mississippi. Scott got it right off the top. Who's number two? So number two. Who's got the number two lowest balance? And there's Alabama. That's right, man. You got it. Alabama. My dad guessed Louisiana. Alabama's this number two. That's a fun game, I thought. Came off of one of these fancy little charts I pull up. Let's see if I can pop it out. Where do Americans have the most cash? Look at that. Hawaii blows everybody out of the water. $43,000 on average. Mississippi down here with a $2,000, less than $1,900 is the average bank account balance in Mississippi. Versus $43,000 average bank account balance in Hawaii. New Jersey comes in number two. Alabama number two with $2,300 down here. Isn't that crazy? Oh, that's pretty amazing. Tennessee's down here, bottom quarter. New Jersey, Washington, Massachusetts, California, up there at the top. Minnesota, Virginia, Maine, Colorado, Montana. All you rich people up there in Montana. Utah, Oregon, Kansas. So, pretty wild. Anyway. See if there's anything else today. Careful on all that gold stuff. Lots of it on the list. On the little pop. Don't get sucked in. Tractor Supply. It's a rough chart. That might be setting up a bounce. Comcast. Let's talk about a company everybody loves to hate. Comcast. Root. All right, buys for the day. Kind of went through this earlier. Let's go through the S&P numbers just to reiterate for everybody. Here's what we're watching right now. This was the high. Here's the low. Watching for this level right where we're at. Right here. If we turn and break down, we're probably going down here. If we can break out right up into that more resistance right up there. There's what we're watching, all right? So we got to get got what we got to do. We got to get up through this to go on up into the 56 to 5800 area. And we might have to retrace down here before we can do it. So this might be a 3-wave thing before we can go up. All right. Be careful out there today. Can't tell you what to do. I never would. Just be careful. Take care of your account. That's what I'll tell you to do. Is, you know, nobody's gonna watch out for your money more than you. Stay safe out there. Be ready for a, more volatility potential. That's another 200-point retrace before we potentially go up. So more volatility potentially in store. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.